Hey Internet, welcome to Saccromancery Homebrew channel. Just got a couple of interesting discoveries to show you today. This here's a Hefeweizen. Brewed this, I don't know, a few weeks ago. It's average, it's alright. So I decided to brew it again because I wanted to enter this into a competition. And something interesting happened. So on brew day, I'm just about to walk out the door, and it turns out the jar of yeast that I had ready to go fell out of the fridge. The whole thing collapsed and exploded on the floor, and that was the end of that. So I went to the brew day anyway, and before I left I took a bottle off the keg of this one here. Looks just like this. It's cloudy, but it's not what you'd call yeasty. And I built up a little starter out of that, little 1 litre starter, and then I pitched that into the beer after the brew day. And it's a pretty severe underpitch. You wouldn't normally want to do that with a beer because underpitching is bad news generally. But the Hefeweizen is a style where you can get away with a bit of an underpitch. So I was kind of interested to see what would happen, and the homebrew shop was shut anyway, so there wasn't much I could do about it. And the brew day, you don't want to cancel the brew day. So, yeah, I pitched it, and here's what happened. Yeah, nothing happened. And that's to be expected when you underpitch in such a major way. And then, all of a sudden, I started getting these little bubbles coming out of the airlock, and I'm starting getting all excited like a beginner. But what's happening is the beer is just warming up from the pitching temperature of 14 degrees Celsius to the fermentation temperature of 17, and that creates a bit of pressure inside the brew keg. So the moral of the story, airlocks lie, don't trust them. At this point I gave it another decent blast with the electric drill to oxygenate, and poured another little bit of beer out of the keg just to give it some more yeast cells, then left it overnight. The next morning there's no activity whatsoever. It's been 2 days since pitching almost, and I'm starting to freak out a little bit. So I get wifey to head down to the homebrew shop with 20 bucks and grab some more WLP 300. They actually had it on special for $10, but I didn't actually see the other $10 back again. That's how wives work, I think. However, while she was away getting that, I checked things and just noticed there's a bit of bubbles forming. So while the airlock's not doing anything, because they lie, bubbles don't. And this is a very, very good sign at this point. Well, I've got you here. Check out this bit of Kiwi ingenuity for keeping the airlock standing up straight. Normally it flaps around in the wind everywhere. Hefes are a yeast-forward style, and I find that if you ferment them under pressure, they lose quite a bit of their yeast character, which is not what you want. So open fermentation is the best way to go here. After work, I just come down and check on things again. Temperature's good, and the airlock is starting to go crazy. We know we can't trust airlocks, so we're also going to check the other signs of fermentation. I like to ferment Hefes at 17C or 62F, which I find gives a really nice balance of flavours, and it's what Jamil Zainashev recommends in brewing classic styles. Who am I to disagree with that? I'm fermenting this in a Williams worn brew keg, and these have a handy transparent lid on them, which makes them so much better than corny kegs. Just being able to see through the lid and see what's going on gives you a great idea of what's happening above and below your beer. More important is what's happening down below, and you can see this fermentation is really starting to take off. Regardless of what the airlock is saying, having bubbles rising to the top is a sign of active fermentation, and this is looking in really good shape. It's pretty cool that you can get a batch started with just one bottle of beer, and never cease to amaze what yeast are capable of doing. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe or like this video if you'd like to see more. Cheers.